Morning, guys. So today I want to talk with you guys about the topic of victimization and not being a victim, And before we get into this topic, I want to just put out a disclaimer where this isn't about to be a video of me like victim blaming for however long and telling people that are victims of abuse or had something like horrible happen to them that you had it coming and like nothing like that at all, man. Like at this point, if you guys have followed any of my material, you know that I'm not on that sort of stuff. I'm not here to try to make somebody feel bad, tell them that they deserved any sort of just like wrongdoing that happened to them. Not what I'm about at all. This topic is more about how a certain frame of mind that we put ourselves in can affect our choices and the way that we think. It affects the way that we think, and then from that way of thinking our choices become impacted, and we can find ourselves in a pattern of constantly being behind the eight ball, so to speak, right, where we're constantly being taken advantage of, or like we're losing out, or just we're constantly miserable because of, and it all starts from this frame of mind that we're in. That's what I'm talking about, So before we even get started, man, like I know that this might be a triggering topic for some people, and by all means, man, like leave if you need to. You don't have to watch the video. I'm not telling you that you need to stay, but I want everybody to know off rip, like this isn't about a personal attack or me trying to tell anybody that they deserve anything that happens to them. I just want to talk about like consequences, man, about allowing yourself to be responsible enough to take accountability for your own actions and the benefits of where this will take us in the future if you're able to do this, and this takes a certain level of a personal development and maturity, I think, that not everybody may be at, but I think it's well worth the talk, because I think a lot about relationships, and when I think of this specific situation, and people can talk about like, oh man, like my boyfriend's a piece of crap, like he's always cheating on me, he's coming home late, and then like he just does all this garbage and he's absolutely terrible. And the same token, right, where guys can be like, oh, my girlfriend ain't crap, I see her talking to all these guys, she's out all times of the night, I don't know what the heck she's doing. And so you have this discussion with people about this stuff, right? And then you're like, okay, like you got me agreeing with you, like I think this person's a piece of crap now too from everything that you're telling me. So you tell them like, okay, so like, are you gonna leave? Like, what's the plan, man? Like, when are you breaking up? Because this clearly sounds awful. And then, oh man, I don't know, we've been together for a while and just... Now, you guys, I think, have heard me talk a little bit about this before, right? About people not being ready for the truth. But this is exactly it, right? Where, like, this person in this situation is actively making themselves a victim. Like, they are... But that's the thing, like, that this person doesn't have them at gunpoint and tell them, like, you're going to be in this relationship with me or else. Like, that's not happening, They're not being forced in this situation, but they're forcing themselves psychologically to stay in a circumstance that they know isn't good for them. They are actively victimizing themselves. And that's the worst, man. Like, you're literally a mental prisoner, not to somebody else's stuff, but to like your own way of thinking. That's horrible, man. That's a horrible spot to be in. And I think about this way of thinking in so many other avenues, right? We're like, man, I got this boss over at this job, and like they're just treating me like crap, like the racists. Like, I don't know, I'm just coming up with stuff. But like, they got this job to talk about that they hate, and you're like, no, man, that does sound garbage. So like, you've been looking around somewhere else, like you trying to like you jumping back into school, or like, what are you trying to do to get out of this? Man, that's just how it is, bro. Why are we even talking then? Like, like I get that some people need to vent, right? Sometimes venting is useful, but what some people do, man, is that they are always in this space, like they're always venting and they're never looking for answers. Like, they're always talking about how miserable they are. They're always talking about how things aren't going their way, about how the people around them are pieces of crap, about how this job sucks, about how they never have any money. And so you start talking with them about trying to find solutions, about trying to find answers, about what to do, and there's always some roadblock, like, oh, well, I can't do that because, or, no, I mean, it's not really going to help because... And they've just made up in their mind that there's nothing that can be done about it. Victim. Like, that's what you are, and you've turned yourself into that. Like, you aren't being forced to stay where you are. The only thing that's forcing you to stay in that place is the way that you're thinking about it. You've done this to yourself, and yet you want to come around everybody and telling them about how much life sucks and bring them down? Come on, man. Like, that's it's so selfish in a way, like not even in a way, like it is selfish, you know, to constantly like bring that sort of energy around people, man, to like sit there and tell them about like, oh, woe is me, this is going on, I hate everything. And like, there's nothing wrong with telling somebody that you care about what you're going through, you know. Like, we all need people that we can have counsel with, how that we can discuss and look over opportunities and things that we can do to change stuff. But that's exactly it, right? Like, when you're talking with somebody and you're coming to them with these things, it's helpful to be in that mindset of like, what can I do to get out of this if I am miserable, you know? But that's not what a lot of people do, man. A lot of people love misery. A lot of people love being a victim. They absolutely love it. Like, they love feeling like they're attacked and like the world's against them, because it gives them an excuse, you know? That's kind of what I've realized, man, is that some people want an excuse to be lazy or to not change things. And as harsh as it sounds, like, it is what it is, you know? Like, some people are just not in that space in their life where like they're trying to make a decision. Now, I don't want people putting words in my mouth, man, saying that like, oh, well, he said that like whenever you're in a rough spot, like it's because you deserved it. Not what I'm talking about at all. Like, I know that there are people in certain like countries and certain living situations, especially even in the US, man, where like you talk about inner city areas and just places where you don't have as much opportunity built in. I'm not crapping on these people at all, because I come from that, you know. Like, I've lived in like inner city Cincinnati with no money and like going through those school systems and stuff. So like, you're not gonna tell me that. Like, I know what that's like, and I know that not everybody there is just some lazy bum that needs to pull up themselves from their bootstraps. That's ignorant, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, man, is that like some people get into this mindset where like they're not even trying to improve anymore, you know, like where they've completely resigned themselves to like this situation, and all they want to do is tell everybody about how bad it is, and they won't even accept any sort of discussion about like, how do we make this better. That's where the evil comes in. Like, that's where the negativity comes in, you know. Not that you're in a bad situation and that you're trying. Most of us will be there, you know. Not saying everybody, because some people are more fortunate and they don't have to do that kind of stuff. They don't have to worry about that. But we all do have our own struggles. But what I'm saying is, man, that you have to want more or want better for yourself in order to see a situation improve. And some people don't want that, and so they end up a perpetual victim, you know. And I don't want that for any of the people that see this video, that listen to this channel. I don't ever want you guys to go through that, man. Like, I make these videos as a way for me to communicate things to like my son, my daughter, like my kids. Like, if something were to ever happen to me, like I'm making these sort of things as like a video diary of things that I would tell them in order to get by in the world, you know. And I'm sharing that, man, because I believe this wholeheartedly. I believe that if you go through the world seeing yourself as a victim, everybody looks like a villain. You know, if you are constantly the victim in a situation, everybody else is the bad guy, you can't trust anybody, no one wants to help you, and so you end up perpetually screwed over. You can't think like that, man. Like, you don't let yourself be a victim to anything, you know. Like, if you're in a crappy job situation that seems to have just happened, reflect on how you got there and what you need to do to change it, you know. Do I need to get a skill? Do I need to further my education? Do I need to be looking around for another job? If I'm in a relationship with somebody that cheats on me, am I with the right person? Do I need to be looking at breaking up? Do I need to be finding another person? Am I in a good enough place to even be dating somebody right now? Like, really evaluating where you're at in your life so you're not constantly falling in these pits. Nobody wants to do that, man. Being depressed sucks. Being perpetually anxious sucks. Being chronically in pain sucks. Like, there's nothing enjoyable about it, man. But there's just a certain subset of people that are constantly in victimization mode, man, and you have to get out of that if you want your life to improve, if you want it to be better. But that's where the honesty part comes in, and that you have to really decide if you want to be better. Like, do you actually want your life to improve, or are you okay where things are at, but you're just not willing to admit it to yourself, you know? Like, this goes back to a topic that I brought up in the past about like the lies that we tell to ourselves, you know, where some of us get real comfortable with just like telling ourselves a narrative that isn't actually true, where you're like, oh, I got my crap together, I take care of myself, and I'm all, but you don't, because look at you. You know, like, look at everything that you got going on. These aren't the products, and this isn't the way of being for somebody that cares for themselves and really takes themselves into account. You're not doing that, man. You're not being honest with yourself. And to me, that's where it starts. Like, it starts with honesty and not allowing yourselves to fall into this victim mindset, man, where like it's you versus the world and everything's against you. Don't let it be like that, man. From somebody that cares. Like, don't let it be like that. And if you take this as a personal attack, I'm sorry, but it's not. And this is, if you're taking it that way, then you're projecting, and maybe there's something you need to look at. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to be like a dick about it or anything like that, man. But what I'm saying is a lesson that I've had to learn directly. And I've learned that, like, sometimes when we hear the truth, we take it as a personal attack, you know? Like, I'm over here, I'm not trying to preach to you guys and say that like everything in my life is freaking perfect. It's certainly not, man. But like, I'm not gonna let myself be a victim to it. Like, if there's something that I don't like, I'm gonna actively work to change it. Like, I'm gonna try to figure it out. Like, I wouldn't be saying this stuff if it wasn't things that I'm actively trying to do, you know? Like, I'm trying to get there too. Like, I'm not better than anybody else, but I'm trying to improve, you know? I'm trying to be a better person. And that's what I want for everybody, man. So I just wanted to make this video about like the victim mindset, about like how dangerous it is, and like, don't let yourself be that, you know? Don't let yourself be a victim. Like, you're stronger than that, man. Like, I don't want any victims on this channel, you know? You don't have to be. I know that crap happens. Life throws stuff at us. Accidents come up. All of that stuff can happen. But we have to work on finding out, like, what's next, you know? Like, what comes after this? This happened, this sucked, it wasn't great at all, but what do I want to do now to get my life back? You know, like, do you want this to be the end? And if you do, then that's your choice. But if you don't, man, if you don't want this to be the end of your story, if you don't want this to be where things stop, then we gotta look forward, you know? We gotta look for solutions, or else we're not doing anything. So I think I got out what I want to get. This, again, going back to the beginning, this isn't about attacking anybody, you know? Didn't make this for anybody in particular. I made this as a general overall thing, man, that being a victim is not where you want to be, man. That's not the headspace that you want to be at. And life is extremely difficult. Things happen to good people that should never happen to anybody. Not saying that, but what I do want you to know is that there's ways out, and the biggest thing that you have to do is look at your frame of mind, you know? Look at how you're thinking and figure out, is this conducive to my development? Am I looking at this in a way where I can kind of find solutions and I can move past this? Or am I setting myself up for a pattern of victimization, you know? Am I setting myself up for this same thing to happen again, for me to be in the same spot? And then will I just be sitting here in another 5 years complaining about the same thing? Or do I need to do something different? You know, do I want more? So with that being said, I'll see you guys later. As always, talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in the next video.